Hello everyone, time to show you some more 3D printing stuff, and as you can see the Imperial is looking a lot more imperially. I do realise that this is the wrong colour, wrong bronzy gold. I just wanted to see what metallic stuff looked like, and this was actually excuse me. This colour is actually cheaper than the gold, so I'm glad if this works like this, then I'm hoping the other stuff will look even better. Yeah, need to redo the ears, mainly because I lost one because they weren't glued in. The eye isn't glued in either, it kind of just sticks around. You can see that it does that all the time. You see I tried to paint the thing, and it actually adds a little bit of friction, so you can just stick it in. It's all glued together apart from the gun. Yeah, and I need to also paint the slats, but considering this was my first complete 3D print, I am very happy with it. One Dalek that is actually complete is this happy chappy, the Renegade from Remembrance. Although his head is a little bit wonky, I don't know why that's happened. All of this is 3D printed, apart from that dot in the eye which I painted. These things were a pain to glue on. Oh, and for some reason my printer doesn't like doing big batches of hemispheres. It did these, and it did the Mark 6. Fine, 56 hemispheres in one go. But the Imperial and all of the hemispheres since, it'll only do them in batches of 14 at maximum, or 1. So I don't know why that is. But I like this guy, he's cool. I think the pupil adds a lot to it. But I'm quite impressed by how solid these things are in terms of the thickness of the plastic. I keep comparing it to my old first attempt, which is, it feels like a those like really cheap plastic toys you get. And of course the dogs are making noises. It's hollow in the middle. But the Imperial, sorry if that's distracting, but it has the 3 little, so you can kind of roll around. You do that too many times and he self-destructs. Okay. Next up is the Mark 6. This is the first prototype completed. The gun needs a little bit of work. I've had to chunky it up a little bit. As you can see, it's got the little details in the gun, but it's not got the poles, because you can't really do that. If you did it at a bigger scale, you could. The hemispheres, now this skirt is actually wrong, because if you notice, I'm not sure if you can pick it up, but the skirt is actually bowed at the bottom. It wasn't obvious until I started to glue these hemispheres on, because if you can tell, then they're ever so slightly, no, you can't really tell, but oh, and I've just lost one. Lovely. So yeah, this is the first prototype finished. I'm really happy with the quality. The only thing that was really a fail were the ears. Ooh, not ears, the lights. There he is, on top of the head. I'm going to have to simplify these up, because this was basically just trying to print them as the model is. That's why they were nasty. It's not posable. I was going to try and do it the same as Audrey's kit, but I'm not there. I'm not at that level yet. So if you take a note of this, the quality of this skirt, you'll be able to tell how much I've improved in a couple of other bits. The claw, the arm is 3 pieces, so it's a half angled sphere glued onto that, then a pole, then the claw mount is a separate bit, and then the 3 claws are separate bits as well. They're quite tricky to glue in. What I might do is, because I've tried to make the model so that you can have little pegs, but I think the model's just a little bit too small. So what I might do is see if I can print it as one piece, have it standing, because the way it's printed at the minute is it's printed standing up and there's a little peg that I just cut off which has a hole in it. So what I might do is add some supports, and because it's really delicate, I'm actually really nervous to be this close to it. The eye is one bit. Unfortunately didn't catch any of the detail on the eye, but I think it looks alright. It's nice to actually have a physical model of a Mark 6. I'm going to print another one eventually. What I might do is, because the skirt takes about 2 hours. Sorry, the fender takes about an hour and a half. The skirt takes about between 5 and 6 hours depending on the level of detail you want to go. The shoulders take about 3 hours. The appendages and the head's about an hour. That's about 45 minutes. The inner mesh is about 45 minutes. And everything else you can get. So you can get it done in a day. But what I'm thinking about doing, because I want to have a few characters of these that are basically just the Mark 6. No other differences. Is take a mould of fender, skirt, shoulders and dome. I'm not sure about the neck, because you have to, I was going to do the neck as one piece, but as you can see, I'm not sure if you can see it actually, but you can kind of see the gaps, because the unlike the the series Daleks, the struts don't touch the mesh. They're like it's like an inner bit. So I've done that as a separate piece. Because if I take a mould of all these bits, then I can produce them at the same quality. It just means that I can get things done a little bit quicker. Because I don't always want to be printing Daleks. That's not what it's one of the things I got the printer for, but it's not the sole purpose. I don't have the money to get another one at the minute. Yeah, so I might do that. So that's that. I need to keep note of that hemisphere. You might recognise this chappie. He's not glued together yet because there's still some work to be done on him. But this is Grexol from the Second Empire comic. Still some work to do, and the paint kind of shows up the roughness of the finish, which is a little bit disappointing. Yeah. So I've tried to make a few improvements when doing this, because it's a completely new skirt section and a new fender and basically new everything. The only thing that is from the Mark 6 is the claw arm, which I need to do another one and finish the claw off. But yeah, same sort of inner sphere, which I should have actually printed in black. I don't know why I didn't. But yeah, all the slats are individual. The shoulder piece is 1. Slats are 2. Dish is 3. This dish was a bit of a pain, because if you take the model as it is, the printer doesn't like it because it's too thin, so I had to thicken it up. In the model, if you look at the file in the model view, this looks way chunkier, but because of the way it's printed, it actually ends up looking pretty much like the 3D model, which I'm really happy about. And it got the vents on the model. I need to paint these hemispheres blue. Now these hemispheres are actually, I need to redo this skirt, because if you see this little knob in here, what I did was I took all the hemispheres off the model, and I took one hemisphere and I took another smaller hemisphere, and then did a thing called a Boolean operation, which basically means you take one object from another. So I took the smaller hemisphere out of the underneath the hemisphere, so it has a hole in it. I then took that same hemisphere and replaced all the hemispheres on the model, so it had pegs. Unfortunately, that didn't work, and it actually raised up the hemispheres, so I tried filing them down with a Dremel. and that kind of worked. The ones that are actually sitting flush, the pegs fell off, which is fine. I also tried. I actually tried to make this hollow, but for some reason it printed a thing. I also made it clip together a little bit, which actually worked out a little bit better because that's the way it is in the model. The skirt is actually high. Actually, it sits in the model of the shoulders. So that is good Excel. Again, no detail on the eye, but I'm quite happy with that. I mean, it's got all the details on the neck, so on the dome. As I've said, the finish really comes up on this. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. My printer is not the most expensive, but I'm not sure if I want to spend time cleaning up every model that I do. Okay, next Dalek. Oh, it's the Jesus Dalek. Oh, I venerate his name. Yeah, I have no idea why that is so. Okay, this is a Mark 6 rotary special weapons Dalek. This thing was a pain because Is that a Mark? Yeah, it is. So, I went through these before I got this right. The first time I left this skirt printing on its own, and for some reason it split. So I was like, alright, fine, whatever. The fender I had to do twice. I don't have that junk bit, that's downstairs. But a similar thing happened with this one. Not sure if you can tell. It's on. I think I showed this off last time. It basically wasn't flat. It curled up at one of the edges. So I had to do the fender again, which worked. I had to do the skirt 3 times. Looking at the model, for some reason, when I'd edited it, the actual split showed up in the processed file for the printer, but not in the model itself. So I printed a small skirt, and that worked, so I did the new skirt. Now, the thing that's different about this new skirt with the old skirt is it's completely hollow, and the walls are ever so slightly thicker, so you get the detail in the back. I then tried to do the shoulder. As you can see, it kind of missed a little bit. So it got the gun rotary bit. Bear in mind, this is all meant to be one solid model. It completely missed the gun box, completely missed the slats, and it completely missed the detail on the back, and it was meant to be hollow, which annoyed me. So I tried it again. This time it got the gun, sort of, got the slats, sort of, and it got the back detail, kind of, and it was hollow. But still not good enough, so I printed a small one. This is something I'm getting in the habit of doing because this took about 6 hours. And that's a long time to wait to find out that you've got a junk print. All these junk pieces, they're going to my friend Phil. So Phil, you've got a lot of stuff coming to you. Yeah, so I now have a mini Dalek. I thought for a second, oh, I can now print Lego scale Daleks, and where the hell is that? But unfortunately, they're ever so slightly a little bit too big. I do actually have a new business venture. Dalek engagement rings. I know that's probably not the right finger, but so yeah. So if you've got a significant other and you want to show your appreciation, give them a Dalek ring. You are my support. You are the special weapons in my life. You have my back, and when I when I need to count on someone, you are there with your immense superior firepower. You know, just don't give them a sanitation Dalek, because that might not go down too well. Anyway, so yeah, very, very happy with this. Very, very clean print. And a new tactic with the dome lights. I need to finish that off at some point. I couldn't resist. This, oh yes, this might be a spoiler for those of you who haven't read the comic. And it is a very glowy Dalek. There you go, that's better. This is an Imperial Stormtrooper. This is one of the Daleks designed by Davros to siege Zarigalan. Essentially, it's a 5 hemisphere high monster. It will have a battle claw, a cannon, and a regular gun. Quite impressed. I printed all of this in one go. It took 14 hours. And the only thing to fail was the shoulder. Because for some reason the printer decided it only needs support. It only needs a support thing on the bottom, not around here. So this curled up, which is unfortunate because it would have been a victory. A couple of things I changed about this model is on the model. Inside these holes for the hemispheres and for there's like 2 little cameras, like 2 here and 2 down here, I think. They have little ridges, which I took out. Also made it hollow. The fender was already hollow, but I had to tidy it up a little bit. And I took a bit of detail off the back that wouldn't have printed. But I love that fact it's got the lines. This has only been printed today, so I'm still kind of catching details. Ignoring the rubbishness of this, I had to make this a solid piece because it was hovering, kind of like the old 60s Daleks. I also took out there's little like rivets that would have just been splodges, and I had to make the slats solid as well. These are actually the solar slats; they're like mini ones. The gun on the arm will hopefully just slot in, kind of a similar way to the eyepiece does now. I did have to drill that bit, so if I need to message Mechmaster to see if I can actually release these files, because I don't want to do it without his permission. Again, this eye was a single piece. Very, very happy with that. These are the dome lights. So in terms of it's quite a simple model actually. It's just a bit bigger. And the neck needs to be redone because I snapped a bit trying to get this neck bin in. It's not perfect. It needs to be flush. So I might need to shrink this down ever so slightly, which is something I should have checked before printing. But oh well. Yeah. So that is all the figures. Now. I also want to be printing full-size stuff. This is a failed solar slat for an SD, because I do intend to build a full-size new series Dalek. Blue and silver, hopefully. I was going to do Dalek Sec, but looking at all the convention videos, everyone does Dalek Sec, so... I'd love to have a Mark 6, full-size Mark 6, but that's way above my abilities as present. Yeah, so I tried that. That didn't work. So I printed it in white. This is kind of a fail because it curled up, so I need to add a better support. And checking the size, it's ever so slightly too big. I think it's not very clean inside, but this took 6 hours, and I'm not sure. I mean, it feels pretty solid. I'm not sure if this would be strong enough to go on a Dalek or not. So I'm not sure if it's worth making a mould of this. And then the very, very last thing, because this video is getting on a bit. Hemisphere. Alright, so this is a Christmas bauble that I took the end bit off, the bit that hangs on the tree, and I printed this. This took about 2.5 hours, which I'm definitely going to be making a mold of this, because 2.5 hours times 50, another 55. I don't think so. And if I want to make another Dalek or replacement parts, yeah, I'm not. The printers are brilliant for prototyping. That is what I'm learning. They are brilliant for making things to be replicated, or I mean, you can make finished parts with them for sure. But when you're mass producing, they're not the best. But I'm really happy with that. It's nice to actually have physical Dalek parts starting to build up. I don't know. I'm in two minds of whether to build a wooden Dalek skirt, although I've been told that fiberglass is better, because one, if you make a fiberglass, it lasts longer, because knowing my luck, I'd build the Dalek and then wouldn't use it for a while, and it'd probably warp or get damaged or something. Now, I'm considering buying the skirt, neck and shoulder sections and the dome. So essentially I won't be making any of it, but if I had the molds of all the sections, there is a possibility I could make another one, or make replacement parts. But yeah, that's something I need to think about. I'm not expecting to get this Dalek done. Well, probably won't even be done by this time next year, but it's going to be something, and it would be really cool to have a full-size Dalek sitting in my shed. I could roll it out at Christmas or Halloween or something. That'd be fun to go trick-or-treating with a Dalek. Anyway, hope you enjoy this video. I do actually need to get these things painted, I do realise that, but because of the lockdown I haven't been able to. There are some paints on Amazon, but they're ridiculously expensive. I know a couple of places where I can go where I can get them for decent prices. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed it. Any questions, suggestions, let me know, and I'll get back to you hopefully with some animation soon. Should have Multiverse 6 done by the end of the month. I'm hoping to anyway. Thank you very much for watching, guys.